Freedom Marches, what's good? I want to do this quick live just to address this situation because I'm fucking confused. So I wanted to, I don't know, maybe you guys can give me some clarification in the comment section. You know, if you're rewatching, or if you're watching this later on, or whatever the case may be, because really early in the morning, it's about what, 5, almost 6 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast. So for some of you guys, pretty early. Anyway, this is Tyrus Bane, aka Snapzilla Gorilla, aka The Definition. Welcome to Freedom's March, the channel, and we're gonna get into this real quick. So, what am I talking about? Why does Brian from HighImpactFlix seem confused? First, let me say this. All right, I got mad respect for HighImpactFlix, for his stalwart, freedom loving, you know what I'm saying, in terms of always being consistent, in terms of being about freedom and knowing what that is and all that shit, and basically pointing out how the government is basically a tyrannical government, the government of the United States, and as most governments are. I applaud him for that, all that shit, but I'm a little bit confused for this video that he put out, right? I believe it was a live stream. And yeah, please hit that like button when y'all come up in here. So he did a live stream where, or no, it wasn't a live stream. It was a video. He played a video of a black man at some event where he's on the microphone and he's talking. I don't know what the context is, but he's this black man. So here's the thing. Brian puts up these little captions in the video saying everyone needs to hear this. This is right on point, basically. And then this black man gets into how he's not oppressed, he's not a victim, all this other shit. He's the type of black conservative, right? That he believes in law and order and all this type of shit. You can tell that, right? You can tell that he believes in law and order, and I'm gonna get into why that's important. He talked about how he's not oppressed as a black man, this, that, and the third, and on some Brandon Tatum shit, on some ABL shit, completely flat out denying any type of systemic racism, any type of that type of shit. Says he's not oppressed, all this other shit. But I'm confused because we know that this man is oppressed, right? We know that he's oppressed because we know the government is tyrannical. We know the government is no good. There are a million reasons why the government is an oppressive government, right? It steals your wealth, right? It steals your wealth and it distributes that wealth to things that you don't believe in, that you don't want nothing to do with, like Pakistani gender studies or like the Ukrainian war. The government creates all these laws to restrict your freedom and in order to control you. We know that the government is about control, and anyone that is subjected to that government is oppressed. So how are we sitting up here saying, how are we agreeing with this man when he's saying that he's not oppressed? Just because he's ignorant of his oppression doesn't mean that he's not oppressed. Just because he's ignorant of his victimhood doesn't mean that he's not a victim. That is, unless he believes that the government should control people, that he believes that the government should be tyrannical, and unless he believes that law and order is a real thing that, one human being can subject another human being to. Unless that is the case, and if that is the case, then why are you even applauding what this man is talking about? Because he's okay with a tyrannical government being tyrannical, right? If he's okay with a government being in control of his life, that's fine. But if he's okay with the government controlling other people's lives, then that's a problem. Never mind the race shit, right? Never mind all that. Never mind the fact that never mind that, right? Because that's pretty much what Brian is trying to say. Brian is trying to say, because this one black man says that he's not, suffering from a racist government or systemic racism or whatever, that's the case for all black people, which is completely fallacious. I don't understand what the deal is with Brian and his, trying to act like he's not aware of systemic racism, that it just can't exist at all, when he can acknowledge that the government ain't shit anyway. If you can acknowledge that the government is trash, and that the government is tyrannical, and that the government will go through any lengths to control people, to divide people, to turn people against each other, I don't understand how he could even consider that there's no such thing as systemic racism. But to play this video of this guy who's saying that he's not oppressed, when clearly we know he is, because he lives in the United States of America, right? And this government is control of our lives, and they go out of their way to ensure that we have, our freedoms are very limited. You understand what I'm saying? And the only reason they don't go full bore with their tyranny is because we do have over 400 million firearms in this country. But to act like what this man, this black man, I wish I could actually show you guys the video right now. To act like this black man is on point with what he's talking about is completely out of the realm of what Brian preaches, right? So now all of a sudden there's no oppression, because if you're playing this video and you're saying we need to hear what he's saying and that he's right and he's talking good shit, that means that you agree with him. So is the government tyrannical or not? Is the government oppressive or not? Or is it that the government is oppressive to anyone but black people? Is that what we're talking about here? I'm just trying to gain an understanding. Hopefully he sees this video and he can explain it to me. He doesn't have to. I'm just trying to understand how you can sit up here and agree with this man when you know good and goddamn well he is oppressed. People like Brian try to go so far out of their way to deny racism, right, that they'll completely contradict themselves 100%. It's a 100% contradiction. It's cognitive dissonance is what it is. He is having two opposing thoughts at the same time. Where he says government is theft, government is mind control, government is murderer, they're terrorists, they're this, they're that, police are road pirates, all this, that, and the third. They're so devious, and the government and government officials and politicians are so devious, and cops and all that, they're so devious and evil, and they're so wrong, and they're so, they're the most horrible thing in the world, except they could never be racist. Oh no, there can never be any systemic racism under this devious government rule. Oh no. There's no such thing as that. It's completely asinine. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. Completely asinine and ridiculous to try to make sense. Especially when we know that there are instances of officials in government roles that have got caught being racist. For instance, Nuri Martinez from the LA City Council, all the racist bullshit she was saying. And not just her, other members of the council. We know that. We know that there were cops in North Carolina. They were talking about they hope that they were right so they can go out and kill some niggers. We know that in San Francisco, they were texting each other back and forth, being racist. We know that a forensic specialist got caught falsifying over 2,000, drug tests of young black boys and black men. We know that. We know that. We know that a judge got caught selling black boys up the river to a private prison. We know these things happen, but no, that's not racism. Oh no. It's just that black people are so criminal. They're so criminalistic. They're so riotous and they're so violent that it's just easy to pull them out of the fucking hat, right? Because black people are the most violent community. And the ignorance in not knowing how racist that is, to suggest, oh no, that forensic specialist wasn't racist. No. Those North Carolina cops weren't racist. No, that Florida sheriff that specifically told his deputies to specifically frame black people and set black people up. No, that's not racist. It's just easy because they're so violent. They're already so violent enough. Oh, it's just black people as a culture, they're just so violent and evil and all that shit. So it's just easy to make, you know what I'm saying? Like, to not know how racist that is completely out of the realm of, sensibility. It makes zero sense. So when I see this video, he's playing it, I'm like, I'm sorry. Who's the dominant culture, right? The dominant society, right? Who makes up the dominant society, right? White folks. That's just a reality. White folks who you say control a government that is devious, tyrannical, and evil. But there's no way they have any hate in their hearts toward black people. That's just impossible. No. Even though I do acknowledge that everyone that's not part of that elite class suffers under government tyranny. But some suffer more than others. That's just the reality of it. Just because, what about basketball players? What about black basketball players or black football players? Oh, look at Tucker Carlson. Not Tucker. What? Ben Carson. He did something. But that's what I call bootstrap Negroes. Okay? Bootstrap Negroes. That's all. It's not those are bootstrap Negroes that had some success. That doesn't mean that, they have to, right? The law of averages, the law of probability. You know what I'm saying? The law of probability is a law that can't be broken, right? So if there are so many black people trying to succeed, even if a system is trying to keep black people down, well then some black people are going to slip through the cracks. That's just what it is. But the group that gets more advantages than the other is obviously going to have more successful people. But because there are some successful black people, there can't possibly be a systemic racism. It's like these people are so intelligent, right? But they don't understand their own fallacies. You see what I'm saying? It's not like, because even back in slave times, right? You had enslaved Negroes, and then you had free Negroes. That doesn't mean slavery wasn't existing, right? And even those free Negroes had some drama. They went through shit. You see what I'm saying? Even, man, fuck. Racism, existed even for the free Negroes. So you had enslaved black people, and you had black people that weren't enslaved during slave times. But that doesn't mean slavery didn't exist. That's what you're suggesting when you point out those black people that slipped through the cracks. Oh, well, look, there's a black millionaire, there's a black billionaire. Jay-Z's a billionaire, Beyonce's a billionaire. Therefore, there's no such thing as systemic racism. It's idiotic. I'm sorry. It's idiotic. Oh, this black man said that he's not a victim. I'm sorry. He speaks for all black people now? What about black people that actually suffer from systemic racism, and that is proven? Proven and acknowledged systemic racism. What about those black people? We just ignore those, right? Anyway, that's all I got for now, y'all. Kelvin Black was good. It's just ridiculous. I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep it real. That was the most ignorant thing I've ever seen. That video that he played. But anyway, I'm gonna holler at y'all later, man. Like, share, subscribe, and let's keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.